Greetings everyone, this is Sailor the Terror of Death 99, aka the Black Cobra. And we're going to continue with our live stream of the Phoenix Wright Trilogy. Now, when we last left off, we had actually started on the third case, Recipe for Turnabout. We had actually found out that the owner of Trebian was actually an ex-con and had actually stolen a lottery ticket that was worth $500,000 because he was actually heavily in debt. We also found out that a murder was actually committed inside the restaurant. The victim was actually a computer programmer, though what we don't know yet is who the murderer was. We had actually found out he was actually poisoned after cyanide was actually placed into his coffee cup. We also found out that there was a witness inside the restaurant at the time, an old man by the name of Victor Kudo. Even though the food was horrible at the restaurant, he had actually come there simply because he was, I guess you would say, somewhat of a pervert, because he would actually come there simply for the waitresses. And yes, you may recognize that woman. She is the defendant, Maggie Bird. Whom Phoenix Wright has actually defended before. And that's basically all that I have right now. Let's continue. Let's see what shit. But he's gonna be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know. Yeah, I can take whatever he throws at me. In those never-ending bird seeds. Alright, let's continue. We had actually started on the first trial. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please. Name and occupation, if you don't mind. His name is Victor Kudo, born and raised in the land of the rising sun. That, of course, would be Japan. Very well. Kimono embroidery, huh? Ah. Embroidery family crests on kimonos. Ah. Interesting. Indeed they are a dying breed. We'll see. For now, let's stick to business. And no, I am not going to be using that accent that I used last night. That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen. Now then, witness, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Very well. So you saw everything that happened. Please tell the court. Very well. The young man was reading the sports paper. Serving girl growth cappuccino. He obviously means cappuccino. Should put something in it. And when he means serving girl, he obviously means waitress. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. Technically, there is something wrong with old-fashioned words. Wireless and spectacles. I wear spectacles, or glasses, whatever you want to call them. Oh, I never do. Very well. So you saw the victim then? You saw Mr. Gonelg? So he was looking at the sports paper the victim was reading. And at that location in question, there are partitions between tables on the same side of the restaurant, right? If you said you could see the victim, that means you were sitting at a table on the other side of the restaurant, correct? I mean, you go there to eye the waitress. Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw? I see. My reading glasses. Your Honor, We need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask that the witness add what he knows about this to his testimony. Did she really put that into the coffee? A brown bottle? Wait a minute. You must be referring to this one. I apologize, everyone. Been a little under the weather the last couple of days. Couldn't she have been adding sugar? I've seen stuff like that before. Witness, could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? That's the bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume. So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you? Very well. I will be right back, everyone. I apologize for that, everyone. Just had to take some cough medicine. This nasty cough has been getting to me the last couple of weeks. Can't seem to get rid of it. Took just one sip. I don't think that's relevant to the case, Mr. Kudo. So it was an immediate death? Well, with potassium cyanide, I suppose that's possible. The waitress, I presume she is. You said, I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Does she have any particular features that you can identify her by? Sorry. Yes, I know that, Mr. Kudo. That has nothing to do with the case, Mr. Kudo. Objection, Your Honor. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit? But anyone could wear just such a uniform. Very well, Your Honor. I know that, Maya. He seems pretty sure of himself. Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie Bird or not. Mr. Kudo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant, I would ask you to add them to your testimony. Ribbon in her hair and her apron straps were loose. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance. What about the most crucial detail of all, her face?
Objection!
Yes, Godell, I'm aware of that. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. Get the feeling there's something more to this somehow. And no, I'm not judging the witness's eyesight. The identifying features you described are all things that you would see from the back. Is it possible that you never saw the waitress from the front at all?
Objection!
People normally talk about facial features when they are asked to describe someone. But this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons! Mr. Kudo, The court requests that you add details about any identifying features. Features you observe from the front, that is, to your testimony. You didn't find anything to be distinct? You clearly saw the witness's face, yes? We need some more concrete proof of this. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. Well, he probably had his eye on the waitress the whole time. That's why he was there. He's there for the cute outfits, right? Not the waitress. She does make a good point, though. I wonder if the waitress Mr. Kudo saw really was Maggie. That's what we have to figure out. Wait a minute. I'm not buying it. If he had seen her from the front, he actually would have noticed the bloodstains on her apron. Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Kudo, I'd like you to please take a look at this. Have you ever seen this before? Bingo! I thought so. Mr. Kudo, this apron. Is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning? And, as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means, if you had really seen this apron before... Yes, you know what I'm getting at. You couldn't possibly have seen the waitress on the front! Yes, I'm aware of that. It is possible... No, you know what? He was watching her, but... he was not watching her from the front. He was paying attention to her uniform, or outfit. Tell the court exactly what you saw. Very well. Tell us what you remember about the victim. A newspaper in his right hand, and that noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. And the servant girl in question brought over the cappuccino. A little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. Seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that this old man's memory is shot. I suppose, but it's what I do best. Sunglasses. One of the lenses was broken, huh? He did have some kind of lens over his left eye. Wait a minute! If he actually was wearing glasses, where's the frame? That's not a pair of glasses. That actually looks like... No. No, you know what? I'll just say it. It looks like a radio transmitter. So they did say he actually was wearing some kind of radio. I think it was a radio transmitter. That's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. Exactly. Where's the frame? No. The newspaper was a sports paper, was it? It was his paper, not yours. If you wanted to know so bad, why didn't you just buy your own? There's a radio Why not do both? Right there! That's why I think it was a transmitter. The earpiece. Of course, they're all wireless radios, but I don't think that was... I don't think it was listening to music. I think it was a transmitter. Or something similar to it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? You mean the waitress who you only saw from behind, right? It is my job. Okay, enough already, jeez. I better not push it until I get some hard evidence. It's freehand, huh? Which hand was that? Ah! He didn't mention that. He didn't mention his right hand. No good. Mr. Kudo did not mention which hand he was actually holding the newspaper in. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese. That's true. Ah, shit. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button by accident. Wait a minute. I gotta see something. Bingo. Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? If this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory? Gladly, Kudo. According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand while drinking coffee with his free hand, which will make make that his left. I'd like the court to take a look at this. Yes. It's the victim's coffee cup. Yes, and on the rim, you'll notice the mark left by the victim. You'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips. That's true. If you consider where the stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand. Well, Mr. Kudo, court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing that pigeon song. Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. Very well. Left hand or right hand? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens on his specs. And seeing the picture, you can clearly see it was actually his right hand. It's actually his left eye. He actually has the lens on. Right there, you can see clear as day. He has the lens on his left eye. Plus, there's also something else. Take a look at this. His left eardrum ruptured the day before the incident, after getting into a fight. That's what was stated last night. Kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. Then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. True, it wasn't. I thought so. It's a small computer monitor. Okay, so it wasn't a radio transmitter. It was something similar, though. Small computer monitor often used by programmers. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Like a mini television screen. The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. An HMD. Yes, I know what it is. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work. It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying. True, he does have a point. So the victim was wearing an HMD. Anyway. And you're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side? Now take a look at this. There's a wall right there. If Kudo was actually on the other side, he would not be able to see him. As you can see right here in this map. It's a wall between each table. Let me see here. Yes. Now it's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. From the opposite table, he'd only have a view of the side of the victim's head. Seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenelg. I would have just told him to calm down and relax. So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. The earpiece you mentioned, which hand did the victim touch it with? Actually, I've done that before. Use your left hand to get things out of your right pocket. I've actually done that before. No joke. And I've also used my right hand to get things out of my left pocket. Even though I'm left-handed. Fancies your left cuff with your right hand. I've done that. So it says on your right hand you'll find see the famous blah 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 blah. Okay, I get the point. Blah, blah, blah. Alright already. Jeez. Alright. Christ almighty. So if he had the HMD on his left side, and it was his left hand. You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo. Looks like you really did see the guy pick up the cup with his left hand. I think the guy's telling the truth. Even so, something's not quite right. But if he's not lying, then there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony. Unless... Wait a minute. I gotta take a look at something. I'll take a look at the photo of those floor plans again. I'm actually wondering if he was actually sitting in the opposite seat. That would actually make it harder for him to actually see the victim. Something doesn't fit here. Wait a minute! I got it! Now I get it. Don't forget what I stated earlier. Take a look at this. His left eardrum was ruptured. It would have been impossible for him to actually hear anything. Bingo. Objection, Your Honor. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but Mr. Kudo, there's something very strange about your observations of the victim. You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. I don't think so. You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured! Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right, it's impossible the victim was wearing an earpiece in his left ear. Because he couldn't even hear in that ear! The witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind, and he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Godot? The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup held in his right hand and then switched to his left. Objection, Your Honor. Impossible. The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee. I don't think so. If he was using it, if he had actually picked it up with his right hand, it'd be nearly impossible for him to see it. The witness, that is. Yes, I know that, Godot. Objection, Your Honor. Sadly, Mr. Godot, that does not wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory is credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. What? What? Fine. All right. Hold on, Your Honor. All right already. Jeez. Knocked over the vase when he collapsed. You mean the tablecloth? Interesting. Actually, he's got a point. Yes. Actually, no. All right. There's some part of that testimony that I find interesting. The court generally prefers if witnesses are sure of themselves, Mr. Kudo. All right. I know that, Maya. Relax. Yes. No. Right there, that part. Knocked over the vase and broke it. That part we didn't... He didn't mention that in the previous testimony. I gotta see something. Hold on. Where is it? Ah, there is a vase on the table. I thought so. The vase isn't broken, though. He's lying. Unless somebody else knocked it over. A vase, you say? A vase is on all the tables in that place. True. He is right about there being vases. I do remember seeing them as well. As you can see, there was a vase on the table where I had lunch there. And you see the moment when the victim actually you saw the moment the victim actually knocked over the vase? Alright, I get it. Soaked in water, you mean? Alright. You said you were sitting at a table across the room from the victim, correct? And yet the water was still managed to splash onto you? Right there! That's the part I don't buy. Take a look at this, everyone. Look at that distance between the two tables. Actually, all four of the tables. That's a pretty far distance. That's at least a couple. That's... That's definitely at least a few feet. Exactly, Q. What I'm thinking Mr. Kudo was actually sitting closer to the victim's table. Either that, or he's lying altogether. 2 centimeters, that's, I'm trying to remember how many feet that is. That's gotta be, I would say, at least 10. No, it's not that far. I'd say about 6 or 7. I don't think so. One moment, everyone.